because
you're out of town.
Not by my bugs.
But you're near Korean Mecca.
That's very true, but right now I think it would take me a super long time to get. Well, no, 3:30. I'd still be okay to get there. Not during the podcast time, that's for sure.
To do a live walking podcast like you did in Korea.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun.
Yikes. Okay, well.
You're listening to the Janchi Show, hosted by 3 Korean American adoptees diving headfirst into what it means to be adopted, Korean, American, and more. And now, here's your hosts, Nathan, Patrick, and KJ.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Janchi Show. It's the new year.
Happy New Year.
Coming at you maybe later than we wanted to, maybe later than we were anticipated, but some life got in the way, and we didn't set an official return date. So we're back now. How you doing?
We're back, baby. We did not set an official return date.
Guys.
It is good to see you.
We left it open.
This is the first time we've seen each other since the last time we saw each other, if you can believe it.
Wow. Which was before.
It was like the first week of December,
week
I
of
think.
Advent.
Yeah.
Or maybe the second, but it was definitely in the middle of December. And then we just haven't talked for a month. So
Like you said, lots of life stuff. Let's refresh
we're
our
allowed-
own
we're
memories.
allowed little breaks.
Let's refresh our own memories really quickly and tell people what the show's about.
Oh gosh, right. Nathan, you want to take that one?
Janchi Show. Yeah. Janchi.
I love that every time I throw to you, it sounds like you're stalling for time.
Yeah. What is it again? No, I mean, we are 3 Korean adoptees. I mean, we are discovering our culture, heritage, our stories. We're interviewing people. We're having a celebration, which is kind of what Janchi means, a feast, which we feast at the end, sometimes with snacks and drinks.
Yeah, and sometimes all of us participate.
And sometimes only a few of us.
That's true. Only a few of us sometimes.
Some of us are doing this abroad or somewhere.
I like that you answered my initial question and then answered the follow-up question that I did not ask, which was, what does Janchi mean?
What does Janchi mean? Yeah.
Perfect. Got it out of the way immediately.
Yeah. How are your holidays? This is wild because, we're just catching up on air. We'll get on to other things later. This is us being friends. We're your new best friends.
We are your new best friends. That's the tagline for the show this year. Your new best friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My holidays were good. My sister was supposed to come in from my sister and her husband were supposed to come in from Salt Lake the week after Christmas.
Did she get hit by the cancellations?
She did not. My mom got hit by the COVID. So we didn't. They ended up not coming. My parents didn't come down, and Emily and I went up to see her parents and then her grandparents on Christmas Day, and that took a total of about 3 hours. And then that was the holidays essentially. We had a few people. We had some of our really close friends over for New Year's Eve, and that was a lot of fun. Ended up being a way later night than I expected. I joked like earlier, like, yeah, I'd probably be in bed by like 8. I think last year we didn't make it very long, and then I didn't go to bed till like 8 in the morning. So it was one of those.
Wild.
But yeah, that was my holidays. Nathan?
All right.
Well, I can say that we were healthy. I guess that was one of the things that we talked about on the last episode was my fingers crossed that we stayed healthy, and we did. We all 5 of us did not get any sicknesses over the break or the holidays, so we got to have it with my parents, and then we had some visitors come in. I even had a short trip to Oklahoma for my sister's 50th birthday, so I got to see her.
Former guest of the show.
And then we had some other guests again at the new year here, and we've just been avoiding going outside because it was a little cold. I don't know if you saw that probably during the break here. It did get down to negative 15
massively.
range.
Yeah, we got a negative 12, I think was the coldest that I saw on my thermometer.
Yeah, it was.
I think we got
it was
maybe 12.
It was bad. But we stayed inside. My heater did fluctuate a little bit, and I was a little worried it was going to go out, but
same.
But we got it back up and running, and I got a chance to go outside and throw some boiling water. So
I saw that, and then you somehow put yourself in the splash zone.
Yeah, I got a little bit of it on me, which is like the first thing that my wife said as I went out. It's like, don't get it on yourself.
Isn't that like basically dry icing yourself?
Kind of. I mean, it was boiling water, but yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, it's exactly like they'll shoot your eye out.
Yeah,
moments later, I shot my eye out.
10 seconds later. What about you, KJ?
That's funny. Yeah, I forgot about that moment when it got super cold. I didn't have to worry about my house, but I did have to worry about just like the whole power grid of Texas. So that was awful.
Oh yeah.
No, holidays are good. We did Christmas. We had like a lot of Christmas and then more of Christmas. So let's see. Christmas Eve and day were spent with my family, and then New Year's Eve morning we did Christmas with Sarah's family, and then that night did a New Year celebration downtown in Dallas. And yeah, so that was just like a wild whole week. And then like I don't know why last year, maybe I was just too sad to like really get it, but I didn't even realize what a weird black hole / purgatory the week between Christmas and New Year's is. But like I really felt it this year. I don't know about y'all. That was wild. And then New Year's Day we celebrated with the Patels and had dokguk and
Cool.
dumplings and hotok and all that business. So that was really fun. That was something I manifested on the show, and then she DM'd me minutes after hearing that, and she was like, "Yes, let's do it."
Literally,
And I realized in my head, I was just talking about like Lunar New Year, and then like just didn't even. And then I was like, "Oh yeah." So, but no, it was nice. It was nice to do that. It was nice to. It reminded me too that like obviously in Japanese culture, I should say obviously in Japanese culture, New Year's Day is a big deal as well. So, did you? But Nathan, did you do anything big with your family New Year's Day or?
No, so that's the day I left. Actually, I left on New Year's Day to go to Oklahoma.
I am out of here.
I was like, I'm out. Sorry. Happy New Year. Yes. No, I flew out on the first. Luckily, avoided the Southwest cancellations as well. Yeah. So I got there, and then I drove back actually with my parents. So yeah, no, I avoided it. I would have liked to have done some fun things on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve even. But we actually really didn't. It was New Year's was kind of anticlimactic for us. So, yeah.
I feel like it's just another day, really. I don't know. I feel like every day is like that anymore. Not in a bad way, but I don't know. I was gonna say though, I liked this. I feel like I saw a lot of Korean adoptee friends making dokguk for New Year's. And then I was like, I completely forgot about like Salal or Lunar New Year, and I was like, oh, I can make it for that. And everybody was like, well, you can just make it again. And I was like, I haven't even made it once. I thought that.
It's so
didn't
easy.
say
it's
it,
so
and
good.
then now I've said it, but still haven't made it.
It's
more of like a preparing myself to make it, like getting everything prior to the day.
Because you got to go to the store.
Yes. Yeah. Like it's like, but we did just have a new market open up downtown, so or no, actually it's far away from me, but apparently it's pretty good. So I gotta go check that out.
Yeah, I would like to try to make it for the Lunar New Year coming up because I didn't do it.
I guess I will be home for that. So. Maybe I should because I'm gonna be coming off another trip. So
hello everybody, welcome to Patrick's calendar. Welcome to Patrick's brain calendar.
My calendar is public just so everybody can see it, and then it's a game just to see what's a fake event and what's a real thing that I have to actually do.
Somebody send him some ingredients.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's funny. So okay, that actually reminds me when I wrote a whole blog post about this, but when I went to go pick up ingredients to celebrate New Year's with the Patels, we went to Zion Market, which is like a H Mart but different. It's a Korean market, or a K Mart as I like to call them, because I think it's funny.
That is funny.
Yeah, so when I was there, it was the first time I had really been in a Korean ethnoburb and spent time there for any legitimate amount of time. And I was just like, oh man, I forgot what it's like to just be in a Korean space. And that was really heartwarming. And one of my adoptee friends and I were chatting about it. She's the reason I wrote the article. And I was like, yeah. She was like, I feel this, like Korea sees me in ways that America never can. And I felt some sense of that in the market. And so not that I had like really set out a New Year's resolution per se, but I think in that moment when I walked in and just like saw everything and heard and everything, I I was just like, I need to be in more Korean spaces. I've been in a lot of spaces recently where I'm talking light politics or light religion or whatever, light Spanish.
Sure.
But I had not spent a lot of time in Koreanness, and so that's something I want to get back to now that I'm mindful of it again. But I don't know, it was really exciting. And I wonder if you two feel the same kind of cognitive dissonance of like, oh, this is really nice and it's really sad and it's really nice.
Yeah.
Being in Korean spaces.
I think back sometimes, and I think I would have loved to have had another Korean or just even an Asian friend, I think, growing up.
Just someone that looked like you. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
I mean, do you ever
really
think
tragic.
that?
I think that
Yeah,
all the
it's
fucking
tragic.
time. Sorry.
Yeah, and granted, I don't think like I was seeking that out at the time, and so maybe I was avoiding it. I mean, there were a couple other Asian kids in our high school, but they were I think they were from China. Our town had a couple. It wasn't many, granted. So, but I wish that I had, and I think back to it, I like, would I have wished it back then? I mean, could I have made it happen? Was I avoiding it? So I don't know. I'm trying to remember from you guys. Did you have any Asian friends when you were growing up?
No, not really at all. In college, there was a couple people, but it was really like not really because we were Asian. It was more like just proximity to friend groups that I was already a part of. But yeah, I mean, when I was young, I was actively avoiding Asian people. Like, I didn't realize that's what I was doing necessarily, but did feel very, like, when I think about it, I did feel very conscious, like the effort to avoid. And I think being so fresh off of having just gone to Korea for the first time, KJ, to your question, I do feel both the gladness and the sadness of missing that space, because I've been like kind of sharing that story a little bit with some friends who are planning or wanting to go back to Korea, some adoptee friends, and just asking about or sharing my story and my experience with them. And like, I'm so hyped to go to Ica just to go back. Like, and I feel like that yearning.
On your own terms.
Yes, on my own terms. But really, like, just not even that necessarily. Like, even if I was going back on another tour, like, I would never probably go back on the OKF one. I won't say I would never, but I probably wouldn't at this point. But I think if I could just find a way to get back there, I feel like I've had that yearning a lot recently. Probably just because I've been relaying the story so much and just thinking about and reminiscing about my time there. But just feeling that yearning and thinking about how being in that space made me feel. It was... I just saw that message and now I got distracted and I didn't even know what it was. But yeah. So totally, I feel like it does make me sad that I can't find that here. And I think a similar intention to yourself about being intentional about placing myself in Korean spaces, because I was just talking to somebody locally about like wanting to get involved more in my local community, not just the Korean adoptee, but the Korean community specifically, because I know it's there. It just feels very disparate and apart. But I know that there's areas, there's places, there's things that go on within the community that I want to find myself as part of. And yeah, I think it is because I'm trying to fill those gaps as I get ready to go back to Korea again.
Yeah. Wait, okay, so sorry. It might have been because we both got distracted by me being distracted by Nathan's phone, but did you say you got... I'm just looking out for
You're
you,
good.
man. I didn't want you to come to the end of the recording and be like, why is my phone dead? Did you say that you understood that sense of like Korea seeing you, or like feeling like somehow complete and also like deeply aware of your adoption by being in Korea?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, and again, in my own caveating, like, this is my experience, but like, I relayed that coffee shop story of like ordering coffee and only having 안녕하세요 and 감사합니다. And feeling seen, feeling like, yes, I made it. Like, this is where I belong. And like, I could feel that piece of myself, like accepting all of this and feeling really good about it. and being it's not that I just am becoming more aware of the adoption part of it. It's just like it's always there. Like I've been using the apocalypse metaphor a lot lately because I think it's perfect. Because I think I was asked to describe it on it when I was on Adoptees On, to define it, and I was like, KJ could define it, and I was like really blanking, and the way I define it, and this could be wrong, so please correct me. But I was like, when the apocalypse happens, like your world, like the world changes. Like you step into the apocalypse, it changes. You can go further into the apocalypse if you want, but you don't have to. But at the end of the day, that's always change. So whether or not you like explore it or do anything with it, which you don't have to do, it doesn't matter, because that's always like that shift in your mindset or whatever you're thinking about when it comes to your adoption, when it comes to your experience, like that switch has been flipped and it can't be unflipped. So that's when I think about the apocalypse, because I thought that's how you had kind of talked about it when you were explaining it from like the Revelations piece of it and like where you took that meaning from. And I was hoping that I was landing on the right way, but that's how I've been thinking about it lately. I've been talking about that a lot. Is just that once I flip that switch, like I can't shut it off. And so everything that I think about and do, I'm also thinking about that. Like I can't not think about it. And being in Korea, even though I had that supreme moment of self-acceptance, going further into that piece of it, like I can't not always be thinking about that. And like, again, it's like the sadness part of it is like, what did I lose? Why am I so far behind? How am I going to get this back? Am I going to get it back? I don't know. Like that's where the sadness comes in. And again, how my adoption drives and defines that for me when I experience those things.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's like, that's pretty accurate, because to take it out of like apocalypse metaphor for a moment, another idea would be like the moment you graduate high school, the moment you get married, the moment a bomb is dropped, the moment, like, it's just, the point is it's a singular moment.
Sure.
So there's no, and I think the problem with like the idea of the fog is like a fog is a gradual thing. And you can like move in, you can move out. There's like gaps in it, whatever. But I think like, to me, like you said, it's a singular moment of realization.
Right.
And you could do things ahead of time to maybe avoid it or like slow it down and be like, I don't want to deal with this yet. But like, there is a sense of inevitability. And then certainly once it happens, there is no going back. Even in the sense of like, once you're married, like you have to get a divorce,
right?
Even in an annulment, like it is a thing that happened, like, and it's a part of you that you always carry with you,
Sure.
And so part of your life will always kind of be in reaction to that. So yeah, no, I think that's right. What's interesting too is when you said like, what did I miss, and thinking about that, like, I think what's interesting is part of the revelation is like, not to be super kitschy about this, but like there is kind of a Korea shaped hole in like the adoption of it for us, I guess, like that, like part of the form and the shape of the loss in adoption begins to like have a boundary, whereas before it's just something that we feel but we can't like explain, and now post revelation you begin to see it starts to have an edge, it starts to have a shape, it starts, even if it's not super clear. And I think the more we're able to sit here and talk about this, experience it, and think critically about it and try to put language to it, the more we're able to define for ourselves what that hole is, what that loss is, where the boundaries of it are. And then we can be intentional about how we want to fill that. But, like there actually begins, like it begins to have shape. To use some biblical language, in the beginning, the earth was shapeless and void,
right.
And then God speaks, and then it begins to have shape, right? So I think like, and once you have that shape, you're able to understand it. It's not as scary. It's not so overwhelming. It's not so just unknown.
Right.
It begins to be known, and you're able to maybe live with it and do that. So
we are the creators of our own future existence.
No. What does that even mean?
What does that even mean?
What?
What?
We get to create where we go from that point of revelation.
Who are you in this vast
I think so.
multiverse?
So, sort of like how we then fill the hole left by.
What do we fill it with?
I mean, and even if you're gonna
because
fill it
for
at
some
all,
people it is. It's like Koreanness, or it's like definitely not Koreanness, and that's totally that person's prerogative, But once you have the shape of it, then you can begin to do something about it.
Yeah, and I mean, or not do anything, but you're at least aware of the shape, and that awareness doesn't go away. Like it's there, and whether you do anything about it or not is up to you.
Pondering on that.
All right.
Going back to your comment about Korea, I really want to go back to Korea as well. I mean, I would love to go to ICA next year. I don't know if it's going to be in the cards for me. It's still on that.
Yeah.
It'll be tough because I'm already going to con in Chicago, and that's the week before, and it's a lot less time.
Subtle plug for con in Chicago 2023.
You can officially announce that on the board.
Well, so technically I can officially announce that I have joined the advisory council of con. So but
hooray.
So next year, it'll be I mean, back to back like that would be tough. But I looking forward to being at con just within that Korean adoptee space, like you were saying, being surrounded by other people who get it or who have, similar thoughts. I want to do the Korea thing too, because I also want to go to Korea because I want to go, but I guess not by myself, but not where I'm
for
meeting
3
up.
seconds.
Well, so when I went last time, I went and my biological family met me at the airport and essentially transported me from point A to point B and all the way around and back. I never had a chance to be on my own. I never really had, kind of a second to have, my own revelations or little, discoveries or things like that. I was always with them. And so that was the focus was really them. And that's okay too, because that's something that I have been wanting to do. But I think I also want to explore Korea for me and for just my own, because I love to travel, but my own discovery of seeing things, getting lost, not knowing what to order and things like that. I think all of that.
Wait, you do want those experiences?
I do want those experiences.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I think that's part of traveling. Not that I like getting lost, but no, I mean, so that's something that I would like to do someday is go back. And that's what I was thinking. If I did go back to ICA, I wouldn't be with my family the entire time. I would be going back and being with other groups or being by myself. So, but yes, someday in the future, I know it's going to happen. KJ, what about you? I know you do want to go back to Korea too, but what are you thinking about for next year? Or this year?
For this year, probably won't happen this year because I have to accrue vacation time.
Oh, yeah.
But I will have enough vacation time to make it happen at some point, which is really exciting. So it might be 2024. But it sounds like we could have like a small caravan of adoptees related to the Janchi Show, friends of the Janchi Show, to go. And I think it would be nice to have a small group of people and just say, hey, we're going to meet up. Or just like be able to fire off messages and just be like, I'm going here if anyone wants to come, and I'm going here, whatever. And just like have the opportunity to have some adoptees go with you if you need that companionship. But then also like with no expectation of being together, no expectation of like it being a group thing necessarily.
Right.
But I think that like having some like built-in debrief times with adoptees who are there could be really nice. I think that's like part of it too is like, I don't know that I want to do. I've not done an adoptee conference. I don't know that I want my first adoptee conference to be ICA.
Dude, just go, either go big or go home. And technically, if you were going big, you would be going home. Technically.
Yeah, that's like too big.
That was like a dad joke.
Walk right into it.
That's a lot. So yeah. Oh yeah, you hit me in the face.
No, I totally get that.
So I don't know. Like I think it would have been good if I was younger and I knew less. But now that I know as much as I know and I've thought about it as much as I've thought about it, I don't know that I would want that to be a return. I might go in the future, but not like my first time back. That's
a big conference.
Post-apocalyptic
I think smaller events, smaller groups are definitely better. I definitely agree. I don't know how many participants come to ICA on average.
A lot.
I was gonna say, like, from Dan Matthews' documentary, which I realize is like 8 years old, there were like 500.
Okay, I was gonna say 500
maybe?
too. I almost said 1,000, and then I was like, "Is I gonna say that?" And people are gonna go, "Who is this person? And why does he not know what's happening?"
But
It looked like a lot.
it was a significant gathering.
Okay.
And it was about 8 times too large for me. Actually, wait, I'm gonna do the math.
Yeah, con is about 250.
Probably
That's still a lot. 250.
It's still a lot.
I mean, when we had
13
13 people at our thing, I thought that was a lot.
and I think that's a good start. Yeah, anywhere below 50, I think would be a nice good start for a little gathering.
Would be intimate. It's like you have an opportunity to have conversations. When even with our group, when we were in Dallas and we went to the dinner, I did feel like I was all the way at the end of the table and I had to get up and like go to be able to talk. But again, we had enough stuff built in where I could have conversations with everyone. But when you have such a large group, it's great. But you do kind of lose, the more people that get involved, you lose a little bit of that intimacy piece because there's so many people to catch up with and you can't catch up with everybody. It's just not possible.
Don't lie, you really just came to my side just to steal food.
That's true. You guys had the good food down there.
Yeah, because Nathan and I were like, we want these meats right now.
Yeah. I was trying to, but I'm like, I don't know what I'm saying.
It's definitely a skill.
Ordering?
Learning what to order at a K
100%.
If you don't know, and then you're like, you're like, oh, maybe this place doesn't do it well, or they like, oh, this place does it super.
Yeah. That's why I like going places with Jerry because he just takes that menu and he just he just knows. Wham, and I'm like, yep.
We should develop a beginner's guide to Korean barbecue. What to order, what are the staples, etc. So when you don't know anything, like here's what to do in this order. Pay attention, etc., etc.
I like that. Maybe that's what off-air conversation.
Korean barbecue.
Find it in the
Korean
store
adoptees.
I figured out what the problem is with the store. It's still not up, but
we've been sending people to the store for hundreds of episodes, and they're just unable to support us.
I have it created.
It worked for like 60 episodes. Okay, so
I said hundreds too. Like we have done more than 100 episodes.
I mean, we have done more than 100, but we have not done multiple.
That's true. That's true. I did want to say too, real quickly, just to your point about wanting that debrief time. I think that's necessary. I think, especially after my last experience, like I would never ever recommend specifically an adoptee to go back without having moments to do that, and hopefully having a group of people you can do that with, whether it is other adoptees or whatever the case is. Like I think you have to be able to have that because that's what we lacked, and I felt like the only time we had to do that was the last night, and a bunch of us were just gathered in the lobby. And people started to ask like actual questions, like other adoptees, like, well, what's this or something? I don't even remember what we're talking about, but I was like, I'm like 6 beers in. I'll definitely talk to you about this right now. And I was just like, boo, boo, boo. But like that was the debrief because I had all of this stuff in my head, like thinking about what my experience had been, what I thought of the program, and never really had time to say all of that except to Emily, who was like, stop yelling at me. I didn't do any of this. No. And I'm like, obviously I'm not yelling at her.
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? Like,
but you're not yelling
that's
at
true.
her.
Definitely. I was just loudly speaking. Yeah, but I mean, that's what I've been for people that have recently had these conversations about thinking about going back. Like, I'm like, if you go on a tour or whether you go by yourself, like you have to build this time in because it's a lot. Even if you were just there by yourself or just there with like a couple people, like you feel a lot of feelings when you're just out on the street. And if you don't take the time to kind of sit back and talk about that, like I feel like it can be very overwhelming once you get home.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. 2024. Let's make a little Janchi
Whoa,
excursion.
he manifested
2024. He said it on
Put it on that
air.
whiteboard.
You heard it here
Make
first.
a little
Episode 100 and
Janchi live in Korea.
200 something?
200 something?
It would be
I
up
don't know.
2024, depending on when we went, it would be yes. If we went at the end of the year, it would be close to 200.
Could be in the 200s if we go for like Chuseok. Not that I'm setting a date.
No,
not
see,
that I'm
you're
setting
getting
a
even
date.
more
specific. No one hold it to him.
You're getting even more specific. I bet Rick Allen will still be there.
Fine.
And his family. He's the best.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't remember. I don't even know how we got.
I don't either.
But I think the important thing, is to go with a group of people who you vibe with, who you can have those conversations with, and who will encourage you to have those conversations. I think there's a part of me that's like, yeah, I want to go. I want to do all the touristy things. Just like maximize my time because it's like so expensive and whatever. And like, so I want to maximize the time while I'm there. But there's also a part of me that's like, I wish I could just go at a very, very, very slow pace where I could, to quote my friend, sit on a bench in Jeju Island and not feel like I was wasting my time because I was like, I got so many other places that I want to see, and I only have 2 more days to do that, or whatever. And I think that's the other thing too about a conference is it would be so jam-packed full of stuff that it wouldn't allow me that slower thinking. And I think for me anyways, it takes a long time for thoughts to get to my heart in a way that I need them to.
Sure.
So yeah, go with some friends that you vibe with. The other thing, I don't think I ever answered this question. I did grow up with Asians in my life.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was a question that was
which might have been how we got to the Korean thing, but it wasn't always. They weren't always people that I particularly vibed with. There's some we had some shared interests sometimes. I was also really young, it was like middle school, high school, so I was still trying to figure out what I liked in friends. And, but actually one of my big early mentors for Asian Americanness was the Fung Bros on YouTube. When I discovered them, and they're Chinese brothers, Chinese American. And so they, I really like their stuff. I really liked watching their content and I liked their personalities and things. And so they became like a surrogate best friend. And so I hope that, moving forward, we can be your surrogate best Asian /adoptee friends, dear listeners, whoever and wherever and whenever you may be.
Agree.
So
I agree.
One of the other things that I wanted to bring up, and I thought that this was interesting, was I just realized I've found myself in a number of conversations, like I said, over the holidays that were lightly political, lightly theological, lightly, whatever. And I felt like I was, because the people that I was talking to were in generally kind of the same headspace as me, I felt like I was practicing language or in a way that was running lines. I was making certain kind of jokes about certain kind of things. And I was like, I wonder if somebody who has been in this longer, and I think actually what might have spurred this was Angela Davis is coming to Dallas to speak. So I was like, I wonder if someone who was part of the civil rights movement in the 60s, if they heard us talking now, if they'd just be like, oh my God, you're so annoying.
Right.
In the way that a lot of people joke, when high school students go off to college and it's a liberal arts college and then they come back and they want to talk philosophy and talk, whatever. And all of the adults who are much further beyond that are you're annoying, go away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wonder if I sound like that to other people, but all of the people that I'm around are generally in that kind of same space as me. But that was the first time that I ever tracked that I probably sound like a 4-year-old, just repeating the same things over and over again. Do y'all ever feel like you, in the midst of doing kind of all of the show, obviously we talk about it a lot on the show, but in your personal lives, do you ever feel like you say the same types of things over and over? Have you thought about it in a way to maybe I should move on?
Oh, 100%. And I feel like I've had conversations where people are telling me actively, you say this every single time that we're together, which has definitely happened a lot. But here's the thing though, is I like the way that maybe I don't like it, but I clock the way you described it as reading lines or running lines. And I think especially in especially light politics, or especially in quote unquote DEI or DEIJ spaces, things like that, it's diversity is a big word right now, it can feel when you describe it as running lines, it made me think of performative action. And I feel like it probably does to a lot of people at first seem people who've been doing it for years and years and years, like an Angela Davis, feels very performative coming from someone who it might clock us, as it seems like they're just reciting something that they've read or whatever the case might be. And at the end of the day,
oh, you all follow the same 4 Instagram accounts.
Yeah, right.
The 2 TikTokers. Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, you have to start somewhere. And like, if you're not repeating those things over and over again, or talking about them, having that conversation, especially with like the friends who are telling me, hey, you're doing this too much. Like, well, that's probably because you need to hear this. And a lot of the times, some of those conversations get uncomfortable. Like, even light politics for me can get into uncomfortable spaces with other folks when you can tell we diverge hard on specific issues. And, one of the things I'm working on is like recognizing when maybe those are not the people I need to have in my circle at all times or at any times. You know what I mean? Or I have to be more intentional about when I'm hanging out, what kind of conversations we're having.
Yeah, you're like Christmas and Easter only. Yeah.
Right. But, just saying those things over and over again, especially words like diversity or equity. Like, equity is a big one for me that I say a lot. When I think a lot, especially when I write, I think like, man, you use this word a ton. Like, what's going on here? And so, but like, I think part of that too, that repetition is like, I need to reinforce these things in myself. And I hope it doesn't come off performative. I hope that what I do isn't. And if it is, I want to be called in on that. I want people to point it out and say, hey, I don't really think that you are doing what you're saying that you're talking about. But I think I have to continue to kind of repeat it, because if I don't, like, I'm a person with a short attention span. I got a Gen Z attention span, even though I'm a millennial. And like, it can go away quickly. And so like, we use the word intentional a lot, I think, in this conversation. Or maybe I just have. And
it's because it's because I'm very holy. And that's like intentional and authentic are just like big buzzwords in Christian communities.
Oh, really? Intentional is?
Relevant? Oh, yeah.
That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Authentic, I can see for sure, but...
No, yeah.
Interesting. That might be another conversation.
I just want to be intentional in my walk with the Lord. I just want to be like,
see, that makes me not like
in my relationship with Jesus.
That's just, you know what I mean?
I'm just clocking it for all my fellow ex-evangelicals or just general Christians.
I don't know. That's just my thing with it. To your question, I don't know if I answered your question, but that's what it made me think about.
The question was, do you feel like this? And your answer is yes.
Yes. Well, TLDR, yes.
So it also depends for me on who I'm talking to, because I forget who I've had those conversations with sometimes, and I don't want to be repeating myself of the same, few words or few points, I guess, but I want to start from the basics, like you were saying. So I want to start from the basics, depending on what they know, and then go from there. I don't want to just jump into like deep hardcore stuff where I'm pointing fingers.
That came out very
and then they're like, Daddy, you have 3 fingers pointing back at you, and you're like, dang, Grayson, you're right.
Damn. You're the reason. No. But yeah, so I had a couple conversations this holiday too, break, where I was, explaining a little bit more about things about adoption, about my own views and things. And one of them was like, what would I change, or what do I think could be better? And I spit it off a few things. And I was like, where I feel like I'm a 4-year-old or where I feel like I'm still too new in it is, that's all I said. And I didn't say more like solutions to those 3 things that I think would need to be changed. So I just said, okay, I think these 3 things could be changed, granted I could go more into depth, like more education for parents after they adopt. So, what does that entail? Well, maybe more, classes, more camps, more, material. And those are all things that we didn't have. I did have a nice talk with my parents because we had 10 hours.
I was going to ask.
And so we did touch on a few things. One of those things, actually, is kind of a side, side note, I guess, is, but I found out how my parents came across just adoption in general. It was because my mom actually did an interview with somebody who had adopted or was looking to adopt and things like that. And so that planted the seed in her mind. And then when they were trying to have kids, they decided that they would look into it as well. And the Dillon agency in Tulsa was just starting up. And they looked into Holt, actually, but Holt was like a 3 or 4 year wait or something. But since Dillon was so new, it was they had a better chance to adopt quicker, and so that's was my sister. So she was within, I don't want to say the first first many new children adopted through their agency. So,
yeah. I do want to say that you definitely shouldn't feel like you have to give solutions when you name problems with adoption. Like, I totally get that you're like, that's where I feel like the 4-year-old experience is. Like, I don't know the answers yet. And the thing is, like, we shouldn't be the ones that have to come up with the answers anyway. Like, we're naming the problems. We tell you what it is. And yes, there are people who can give you solutions. Like a J-Ron Kim, like I would trust her to for sure lay out what a solution could look like to post-adoption researches. But
I'm part of an entertainment podcast.
But at the end of the day, like
doing academic
but
research.
even for her, it's not on her to have to come up with those solutions. Like, we can lead the charge, but like we, at the end of the day, we're still only asking to be validated and seen and heard. Like, we need that first. Like, and people aren't even like, when you name the problem, like that's a solution in itself. Like KJ was talking about, like we need to have, or maybe this was our pre-conversation, but like we just need to have these different conversations. And like, people don't know, like we are still invisible to the general public. And by naming the problem or multiple problems, like that's part of the solution. Like, we need people to know what the problems are, so then we can work towards the solutions. They will then be willing to listen.
The awareness
first.
Yeah, we're an awareness campaign.
Yeah. We're an awareness
Janchi
podcast
Show.
now.
My other question was going to be, and you kind of did answer it, like you and your parents did have a conversation, but especially because you all went to see your sister for 50th. And I was just going to see if you had like any conversations that came up on that trip with all of you. Just having everything. She had come on the show. You obviously have been doing the show. And then you're all kind of together probably for the first time in a long time. Like in that way, maybe? I don't know. Just because of everything that's been happening, pandemic-wise and sickness-wise.
Yeah, I've seen my sister and my parents like I think 3 times last year. It was actually a lot.
Like together? Like you were all together? Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, all together.
Wow.
So at least
all right,
3,
cut that.
But to have the discussions is not. We haven't had a whole lot of like in-depth discussions. I do see. Not to speak for my sister, but I do see that she is more interested in Korean adoptee related events, and she asked me to fill her in on Khan or on ICA or going to Korea, things like that. Cool. I think she is interested more, and I'm happy that she is discovering that part of it. So, but I'm again taking it as she brings it to me.
Yeah, that's her journey for sure. How dare you try and navigate her journey for her? Just kidding.
Not to like, I don't know. Whatever. I wanted to say like the thing about I don't think that you're being performative, Patrick,
me
necessarily.
Sure.
Yeah.
You have that sometimes, but not right now.
Thanks. When did you perform like at our live shows?
Right.
No, I think the thing that I'm trying to express in like the idea of running lines, it's like the idea of running lines, like to get off book so that you can then actually like engage with what you're saying and not just like be doing the roteness of it to get it to a point where what I mean?
Yeah.
And I felt like like the circles that I was speaking in were other people who had recently, for lack of better terms, like become woke, people who were recently deconstructed their faith, people who, so they were in like kind of the same headspace as me. And so to me, I just had kind of like an out of body experience of, I was listening to myself in this situation. And I was like, I wonder if we just sound like a bunch of 8-year-olds who just realize that like boogers are funny. And so we're just like making a bunch of jokes about boogers or farts or, whatever. Like, not that, I mean, personally, if you can't laugh at a good fart joke, like, what are you doing with your life?
100% agree.
But like for me, my comedy has evolved from that point. Like I'm not still making fart jokes as my only source of comedy.
I mean, if you were, I wouldn't even be bad.
Would be really sad. I'd quit the show. But like, it's more just like that was all that I had.
Yeah.
Like at the moment, and so I was just like, from like experiencing that and thinking about that, I was like, oh man, I gotta grow up. Sure. I gotta move on. And Sarah and I were talking about like how, like, whether we had any like goals or resolutions or words or whatever for the year. And I was like, I have like some like very practical, like I want to come do this project by the end of the year kind of thing. But I don't really have a goal. I don't have a manifestation, a word, resolution, because I think all of my things that I've done for the past 2 years, I'm really happy with where that's taking me, and I need more time for those. Like I just need to grow into them so that I can identify what the next thing is. You know, kind of like a 6th grade to 8th grade thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm in 7th grade.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I need to just get a little further, and then maybe once I reach 9th grade, I'll be like, all right, hey, new area. Like I've reached this point. Now I need to set new goals for myself. But so I just like, but I think with that conversation in my head, and then like that thinking about myself critically, and this conversation of other young woke people, other young liberals, I guess, whatever, however you want to think about it. I was just like, yeah, I need to grow up, I think, but not in a judgy way, just in like there just needs to be more time. I just got to keep practicing, keep thinking, keep doing.
Yeah. So. I appreciate you clarifying, because I wasn't saying that was, nor did I think that you were being performative. It was just that line, I don't know, just triggered that thought in my head, because I've been thinking about it a lot as well.
Lines. Yeah. No, I think it's
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Is that it? Was that the episode?
I mean, I got lots of other things.
I mean, I could always
talk about.
You know, I could talk for days.
But,
yes, we do.
Wow, that did not sound like you were happy about it. That is hilarious.
Well, we're at toward the end. I mean, we could jump into food. We save it for another. I think we're gonna have a good conversation on our next interview.
Same.
Actually,
I'm excited for that one. Let's not spoil it.
Yeah, but
I don't even know who it is, so don't spoil it for me.
Perfect.
I'll do my research later.
Right before.
I feel like this is like the Smartless podcast where they surprise the other two with the guests.
That's kind of fun.
So, it is fun. I mean, they always do it. Somebody brings on a guest, the other two don't know who it is until boom, they appear on the. I
feel like that's what we've been doing lately, anyways. Just surprising ourselves with, or not any lately, like before we went on our 5-year hiatus. We were just like, it's this person. They filled out the form about 12 months ago. And we don't know anything about them because everything has changed. So, no, it's all good. We got lots of conversations left in us.
We got time. We got 2023.
Back,
we got plenty of time.
All right, let's do a snack.
Jump
even
into
though
food.
I don't have it.
All right,
we'll
great.
You can have food envy.
I will have food envy.
Welcome back. There's an extra sound effect in there. No.
That was me.
Welcome back to the Janchi Show food portion, where we snack on something we do not know what it is. But it looks good. Today,
I don't even have it.
It smells yummy.
I don't know what this is because there is no English on the box. So it looks like a fish that is fried, made by
so cute.
Lotte. It just looks like a fish. It kind of reminds me of the Japanese teiyaki.
Oh,
so this is a hotok, which is a traditional snack. Sinik. It's just like flour bread. It's like just flour, like a tortilla with stuff in the middle. I think it's really cute that it's a fish, but it's not like you could just think of it as a pancake. This is actually the Google Translate told me it's chamfish bread.
Chamfish?
Yeah.
Chamfish?
I don't know what a chamfish is. CHAMFISCH. Yeah. Chamfish. There's a little Korean above that just says chewy.
Chewy? It does look chewy.
Chonduk. So chonduk, I'm assuming, is kind of like the onomatopoeia type sound. Like chonduk, like a chomping or whatever. But yeah.
It does say on the package that you can, to enjoy more deliciously, it says you can put it in the microwave for 8 seconds or fry in a pan and warm it up. So
all right, what I'm seeing here is mostly a cham fish sauce, which is like a Vietnamese dipping sauce.
Interesting. Hot dog, I think,
Nope,
is best
cham.
warm.
No,
So
cham, I think. Salty, sweet, and tangy sauce made from fish sauce, garlic, lime juice, sugar, chilies, and vinegar.
well, it's good.
It has a signature fish sauce funk, umami, and a subtle heat.
I'm not getting any of that in this.
Yeah. So the picture on the front is very misleading. And the picture of the fish shows just stuff oozing out, like it's like full of filling. Eating it and biting it, it's like it's not. There's like a little.
Show us.
There's
what
like
it looks
a
like.
little bit in there, but it's mostly bread.
It looks like a sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle from McDonald's.
It's more like just the bread.
Yeah,
just the McGriddle.
It's a lot more bread.
I'm not gonna lie, that's 100% what it looked like to me from this angle on the camera.
Well, I mean, it was a little bit.
No,
there.
actually, it looks like a little like stuffed pancake thing.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like the Taiwanese pineapple cakes and stuff like that. That's kind of what it reminds me of a little bit, but with like a brown sugar flavor.
Hot dog, yeah, like the pancake thing.
Yeah.
The potato is it a potato?
No, it's just flour.
Just yeah.
I'm eating an Oreo.
Wow, what's that like?
Tastes like that one Korean snack that was clearly just Oreos, but with less filling.
But with less filling, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna save mine because I'm gonna heat it up. Probably on a skillet.
I think I gave you like 3, didn't I?
Just 2. It's kind of sticky, so I think it would be like extra sticky in a microwave situation.
Yeah.
But I think warmed up on a skillet would be nice. That's really exciting. Hot dog is a super traditional Korean food. So it just feels right that we eat it for our first meal back, and that it's the new year, because that also feels like it. I will say I got 0 fish flavor, so it just seemed like a brown sugar. Maybe I mistranslated it, but it is. I mean, it's delicious, but I got no fish flavor.
I'm excited to try it when I get home.
Oh,
It does have peanut. Yeah, I got 0 fish in it. Actually, it does not say that it has fish in it.
So, bungeoppang is maybe like the Korean version of taiyaki.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
Pumin.
Isn't that what you said?
Yeah.
Nathan?
Yeah, I said taiyaki. Yeah, that's the Japanese one. Yeah.
So maybe that's why it's like hot dog. It's hot dog, pumin, bungeoppang. So translated as taiyaki with hot dog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I told Jennifer the last time we were together, I feel foolish saying hot dog because I don't ever feel like I hit it right, and I always want to say just hodor.
Hodor.
Hodor. Yeah.
Oh, so sad.
That is sad.
Anyways.
Spoiler alert for a show that's been out for a season that's been out for a long time.
I don't know what cham is though.
Cham.
Oh, cham on its own just says, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's the Kool-Aid of hot dogs.
No, I was doing.
It's delicious.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I would like a little more, of the traditional fillings, like a larger, hot dog, but it's good.
Yep.
I'll be quick.
My Oreo was good too.
I'll be quick. I give it a 3 out of 5. I think it tastes good, but it's not
not everything that you
I'm not going to eat the whole box.
I think I'd give it a 4 out of 5. I was really happy with it. Hot dog is my favorite. It's good flavor. It's just classic, kind of brown sugar plus chestnut flavor. I think it's good. So 4 out of 5. And I'm going to warm
looks
it up.
Like a big giant goldfish cracker.
Who knows?
Who freaking knows?
Yeah, but all right.
Patrick, what would you rate?
How would you rate your Oreo?
My Oreo, 100%. 5 out of 5. That's what 100% is.
Wow. All right.
It's just a standard traditional Oreo. Bought it at the hotel. That I stayed in. Got 5 left. So feeling pretty good about them.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's it. Patrick, you want to sign us off?
I would absolutely love to sign us off. Folks, we appreciate you stopping by with us today. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off by
Folks,
saying
we know that you have many choices to fly, and we appreciate you choosing the
Folks,
Janchi Show Airlines.
Folks, we know that you can fly many podcasts, but you've chosen Janchi Air. And for that, we greatly appreciate it. And if you are arriving at your final destination and ever interested in finding us again, you can go to janchishow.com. And we got a lot of great stuff there. We have a store there, apparently. Really excited about that. You can also find ways to support us on there as well. If you want to send us a message, you can do that at Janchi Show on all the social media platforms that exist in the world. You can also send us an email to janchishow@justlikemedia.com. You can also leave us a message via the telephone at
972-677-8867.
Thank you so much for that number. I already forgot it. I was going to repeat it and I forgot it. 972-677-8867.
Got it.
Yeah, we are in it. All right. If you want to leave us a voicemail, you can do that. Maybe even a little surprise on the end of this episode from that very voicemail inbox. Other things that you can do. You can go onto Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts that allow you to rate, and you can leave us a rating and or a review. We really appreciate that. You can also join us on Facebook in the Janchi Show After Party. Lots of incredible fun stuff happening there. Other than that, you can find me on the internet wherever I want to be found at Patrick in the World.
I'm at Nowak on Instagram and Nathan Nowak on Facebook.
And I'm at KJ Relke, wherever I want to be found on the internet, or you can read my blog at kjrelke.online.
kjrelke.online. Our friend and fellow co-host KJ is putting out some very fun, very cool content. Very engaging content.
I'm putting out some content.
He's putting out content on his blog. So
He's
that's
blogging.
kjrelke.online.
He's blogging the blog, doing the blog.
Doing
other than that, we are back, baby. That's probably going to be the title of this episode. I don't know. I didn't write it
I feel like
or
that's
edit
been
it
a title already.
or put it out. That 100% has been a title now that you said that. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to continue to do this show with y'all. And I know I'm getting ready to sign off with our signature catchphrase. But before that, I just wanted to say hey, bokmane, baraseo to everyone out there.
Hey, nice.
And until next week, Janchi.
Hey, say hey, bokmane, baraseo.
Baraseo.
Say hey, bokmane, baraseo.
Happy New Year's, fellas. It's your new friend, Leah Burns, from Arkansas. Not really sure why I specified my state, as I'm sure you don't know any other Leah Burns in your life, but who knows? I just wanted to say how much I really appreciated Kim's episode. I loved her reflection on how healing it can be to be around other adoptees, because frankly, being with y'all in October for that live show left such a deep impression on me. And I could 100% resonate with her on how healing it can be. It felt so easy being with you all, virtual strangers. I mean, just rolling up. And it was just really meaningful. And so I'll carry those that weekend memory for a while. I just wanted to say thanks. Also, it was really awesome to know that y'all are the same guys offline as you guys are on the pod, because you never know, just meeting strangers from online, you know? So thanks for not being sketchy and or murderers. Yikes. Hope that wasn't very jarring. I don't know if you can really even air that last sentence. I mean, you can, but should you? Who knows? Anyway, but for real, I got so much admiration for you guys and the community, and I'm really excited to keep learning from y'all in the new year, and really excited for what you guys have going on. Also, y'all better let me know when you get that merch up and running. Anyway, I will